I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
Computer, play 10.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
We see this tradition now of man actually creating machines that have gone beyond what any individual can do, and we're getting backed into a corner of what is it that man still does better than a machine.
Cyberspace, a consensual hallucination experienced daily by billions of legitimate operators in every nation, by children being taught mathematical concepts, a graphic representation of data abstracted from the banks of every computer in the human system. Unthinkable complexity, lines of light ranged in the non-space of the mind, clusters and constellations of data, like city lights receding.
The cyberspace idea came from watching kids play arcade video games in the pre-Nintendo days when you couldn't get the experience anywhere else. And I wasn't really watching what they were doing when they played the games. I was sort of looking in from outside and watching their body language. And they really seemed to me that they wanted to be behind the screen. They wanted to get through the screen into that sea of data where they were manipulating things, and on a particle level, in a sense, they're already there.
I think what's interesting about Gibson's book in Cyberspace, it's one of the first places where we talk about stepping out of the body completely and stepping into a world where the body is only a limitation and has really no value. And that's an important leap of faith. I think we're not really ready for that kind of step, although to a certain extent every time someone sits down in front of a computer keyboard and gets involved in being inside of a computer, they've essentially stepped out of their body into that computer world. The reality model that we have is not only biologically determined, but it's culturally determined. In a software world, we can really go in and change things in a dramatic way. And we can change things from day to day. In the morning, we can look one way and be tall. In the afternoon, we can be short. So I think it's much more up to the individual to decide what that person wants to look at.
I think the fact that electronically an illusion of reality can be created that is more convincing than the everyday reality we inhabit in our ordinary worlds is, an extraordinary development with all sorts of consequences. When we watch a murder mystery, we won't be watching someone else commit a crime, but if we want to, we'll be able to play the criminal or the victim. Now, I think all this will have enormous repercussions on the whole sort of moral basis on which we stand, because we will be able, for the first time, to play with our own psychopathologies as a game.
There's no there. They taught that to children, explaining cyberspace. She remembered a smiling tutor's lecture in the arcology's executive creche. Images shifting on a screen, pilots in enormous helmets and clumsy-looking gloves, the Euro-electronically privative virtual world technology linking them more effectively with their planes, pairs of miniature video terminals, pumping them a computer-generated flood of combat data. The vibro-tactile feedback gloves provided a touch world of studs and triggers. As technology evolved, the helmets shrank. The video terminals atrophied. No there.
when Angie looks at cyberspace in Mona Lisa Overdrive and says there's no there, echoing Gertrude Stein's initial impression of Oakland, actually. What she's saying is that information has become extra geographical. It doesn't really have anything to do with where it is. If you're on an information net and you're looking for information, the question of where these electronic impulses are going in the physical world to locate the information you need is completely beside the point. Cyberspace is where a long-distance telephone call takes place, but it's also where the bank keeps your money. And cyberspace is where your medical records are stored. All of this stuff is out there somehow in a relationship to all the other bits of it, and there's really no point in thinking about its geographical location.
People have made a big deal of computer literacy since computers were first invented, but I think that network literacy over the long run is likely to be at least as important, probably more so. Linked computers are just a vastly more potent phenomenon than a computer sitting by itself, because now you have means of communication and access to information that is global in scale. I mean, it's just fantastically huge.
I think that the computer as a sort of discrete object that one owns and values and is very, very aware of, I think that will become a very quaint and antique concept. Computers will become small and transparent and finally invisible and sort of spread out through everything, and everything will be slightly smart and everything will be interconnected, and we simply won't be aware of it.